Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troller. 1972 to 1975.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1972-75 World Series Game 2 from the Oakland Coliseum. Cincinnati Reds at the Oakland A's. The A's won Game 1 and lead 1-0 in the series. We'll get started. Today's starting pitchers, lefties. Don Gullett, 74 card, 17-11, 3.04 ERA and 243 innings, versus Kenny Holtzman's 1972 card. 19-11, 251 ERA and 265 innings. Might get a little more offense than we had in Game 1. Gullett's had kind of a down year with this card. Holtzman's been very good, though. We'll see what we get. Reds need to crank up the red machine, though, after just getting one run in the opener. Leading off, Joe Morgan. 63, pitcher X. Holtzman, E6. And it's a single. Huge break to start the game. Got to take advantage of this. We believe, well, you know, maybe this is a mistake, but Rose is going to do a hit and run this time. He's going to switch it up a bit. Hit and run means he's got a steal and a 7. He steals anyway. And what's the T rating for tennis? An 8. So it's a stolen base. Rose swung through the hit and run. No damage done. Morgan steals the base anyway. Pete steps back in the box with a runner at second. Here's the pitch. 67, pops to first. Tony Perez, 59, grounds to second. It's one batter too late. Doesn't score a run. Got a runner at third, 2 outs, and Johnny Bench. 38 for Bench is a walk. Trouble brewing here for George Foster. 45 off Holtzman is a pop to short. The Reds strand a couple. Bert Campaneris leading off. 39. Sky's the center. Joe Rudy. 68 walks. Mike Hegan. 62 first C. Runner in scoring position for Reggie Jackson. 54 off Gullett. He flies to center field. Top of 2. It'll be Dave Concepcion. 54. Automatic homer if you got power, and Concepcion's got power both ways. How about that? 8 home runs, but he only had 350 plate appearances. They gave him power both ways, and the Reds have a lead. Bobby Tolan, very good against lefties. 37, base hit. He's a double-A stealer. He's taken off. They got to be aggressive down a game. But he's thrown out on an 18. Double-A stealer, 0 arm. We've seen this a bunch on my channel, unfortunately. 1 out, Rod Gilbreth. 43, first X. This is Hegan, a 2E10 at first. He makes the play. And Bob Barton. 45, pops to short. Both teams go to the bench against lefties. You have Gilbreth and Barton in this game. And the A's will have some guys coming up soon in the bottom half. Right now, it's Sal Bando leading off. 52, flies to right. Gene Tennis, 211, walks. Claudel Washington, 5'11", also walks. And now we have second baseman today, Larry Brown. First and second, 1 out. 68, another walk. Gullett, you just walked a 183 hitter. That's not going to work. And now, number 9 hitter, 192 batting, Pat Corrales. The bench of the A's is much more inferior to the bench of the Reds. The Reds have a deeper roster. Oakland struggles with Larry Brown, Pat Corrales, and Rusty Torres joining the perennial A's. Bases loaded, 1 out, up a run. Corrales actually, I think you got to play back here. You can't afford allowing a plus to happen. You can't, on a 192 hitter. So they'll play back for a double play. Here's the pitch to Pat Corrales. 66, well, Gullett made it easy for him. Double 1-3 off the Gullett card is a 2-run single. You cannot do this in a World Series, and Gullett's doing it. So there you go. Runners on the corners, 1 out. Now you got to bring it up for Bert Campaneris. 2-12, short B. That worked for the Reds. Got the guy at the plate. Big move. Big moment. So now you have first and second with 2 outs. Joe Rudy. 3-10, flies to left. Got rid of some of the damage, but you trail 2-1 into the third. It's Joe Morgan. 5-10 Ks. Pete Rose, 43. First X. This is Hegan. Getting a lot of ground balls in this series. Makes the play. Tony Perez, 38. That's a walk. No, it's a single. Yeah. And Johnny Bench looking for his first hit. 1-3. Grounds the third. Bottom of the third, it is going to be Hegan. 1-6 is a K. Reggie, 35. Single 1-9. Lines out on a 20. And Bando, 35, is a walk. Gene Tennis, 49, flies to center field. We go to the fourth. It'll be Foster. 1-6. Flies to left. Concepcion, 57, short X. This is Campaneris. He's also getting a lot of balls hit to him, and they haven't blinked. Bobby Tolan, 1-3, pops to short. I mean, one scenario of a series like this, you've got an artificial turf team in Cincinnati with balls ricocheting all over the place. And in Oakland, oh my goodness, you've got a pasture for cows out there and a tremendous amount of room in foul territory, lots of grass. A sharp contrast in stadium configurations for these two teams. Bottom of the fourth, it's Claudel Washington. Of course, none of that matters in the first edition set that I play, but I thought I would bring it up for historical context. Claudel Washington, 2-7 is K. Larry Brown, 34, lines a third. Pat Corrales, 1-9, flies to left. Again, like game one, low scoring. Look, I'll show you Strat-O-Matic cards, folks, if we get some offense on those cards, but we haven't got much. Into the fifth. Rod Gilbreth. 1-6 is a K. Bob Barton, 66, off a Holtzman's card is a single. The first hit off the Holtzman card since the Concepcion homer. Joe Morgan, 57 is a K. 2 of those today for Joe. And with 2 outs, it's Pete Rose. 39 against a lefty, rounds to short. Bottom of the fifth. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Oakland has a little bit of revenge on their hands. They were up 3-2 in the World Series a year ago. They went to Cincinnati. They had leads in games 6 and 7. This is the 1970-73 World Series played 2 years ago. They would lose both those games. There were some fielding blunders by Bert Campaneris in there, some weak left-handed relief pitching the A's had back in that era, and they let it get away. And so it's more on their mind to get that first ring. And so far, it's going their way in these low-scoring games. Low-scoring games favor Oakland. High-scoring games favor the Reds. Fifth inning, bottom half, it'll be Campaneris. 46, flies left. So cool also to mention, to even play 2 World Series with these teams is so much fun. Looking forward to the rest of this. You know, to do it twice in the general sense of the timeline, because they only met once, of course, in traditional Major League Baseball. But we wish we could have seen 1973. The Mets pulled the upset there over Cincinnati, and then 74 was the Dodgers. Back to the game. Joe Rudy. 1-7. Let's take a look at a card. Joe Rudy's card. 1972. 305. 19 homers. A 1-2 in the outfield. My goodness, folks. And A bunter and B hit and runner if you need that. If you need that. You don't really have to use it, of course. You probably don't want to bunt a 305 hitter with 19 homers, but you could. 1-7. Triple 1-9 single. It's a base hit. Now Mike Hegan. 3-10 flies to right. 2 outs. Big moment. Reggie Jackson. 56 is a K. So Gullett had some control issues in the second inning. seems to be over it. The A's, just the 2 runs and 1 hit, only 2 hits total. We go to the 6th inning. This is the game to steal if you're the Reds. You steal a game in the Coliseum and get a split, and you're happy. This is a totally stealable game after losing game 1. Tony Perez, 64. Off Holtzman, 3rd X. Bando, 2E22 at 3rd. Or 24, what is he? 22. Makes the play. Oakland, not blinking defensively. Johnny Bench, 3-5. It was sooner or later. Let's take a look at Johnny Bench's card. He is your 1972 MVP, 40 home runs, 270 average, 100 walks. Could very well have been the MVP in our league this year. He finished 2nd to Willie Stargell in a close vote. 35. It is gone. And we got a tie game. Oh boy, folks. Looking forward to a roller coaster series. George Foster, 311, grounds are short. Concepcion, 45, pops to short. Bottom half of the 6th. Bando, Sal Bando, 58, K's. Gene Tennis, 510, K's. And Claude Washington, 39. He K's. Don Gullett with a resurgence here after the struggles early has settled down nicely. 2-2 into the 7th. Much like Game 1 starters. Gullett's a starter 7, Holtzman's a starter 8, just like Nolan and Hunter. Into the 7th we go. Bobby Tolan, 58, is a grounder to short. Campaneris. He finally boots one on the Z27. It's going to happen sooner or later. And here we are. A Campaneris error late in the game. Oh boy, Oakland. Double A stealing. Tolan is not hesitating. He's taken off after the caught stealing earlier. He's there on an 11. All right. Rod Gilbreth is the batter. 2-6, and how do you become an instant celebrity in a new town? You do this. Rod Gilbreth, let's take a look at the 1973 card. Atlanta Brave. Never played with Cincinnati. Or maybe he might have maybe later in the decade. Don't necessarily recall that. Maybe I'm thinking of Darrell Chaney, some Atlanta infielder. Anyway, but Rod Gilbreth for the 73 Braves at 284 with this card. And 2-6 is a single to right field, and Bobby Tolan will take... Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Reggie's got the -5. Tolan's going to pump the brakes. In an interesting move, there's nobody out. He ain't going to let Reggie throw him out. They want to pile on in this inning. So Gilbreth, disappointed he doesn't get an RBI on that. Tolan will stay at 3rd. Runners on the corners, nobody out in a tie game. And Holtzman, though, is a starter 8, so he has some wiggle room here. He will face Bob Barton. We got to look at the ground ball B opportunities on the card if they exist. Not, well, they do exist, actually, versus a double play. If you take yourself out of a double play, it means you have to get Morgan, Rose, Perez, and Bench out, or 2 of those. If you get a double play, you only have to get 1 of them out. They're going to play back in a tie game. Bob Barton, here's the pitch. 2-11, it's a 6-4-3 double play. This move might be questioned. You get the double play, the run scores, it's 3-2. The A's have confidence at home, and they feel like they can get to either Gullett or the Cincinnati bullpen. Moreover, the bases are empty, and there's 2 outs, and it's Joe Morgan. 35 is a walk. He's going to steal, and he's out of 19. So, all things considered, Oakland should be happy. They got 2 caught stealing in this game. They got the double play. They didn't put runners on base for Rose, Perez, and Bench in this inning, and it's a 7th inning stretch. They're down 3-2. Stretch time again, continuing on with the Shuggy Otis LP we saw in Game 1. Inspiration, information, wings of love. Back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. Gullett has a lead. Last time he had a lead, he walked 3 guys, particularly guys at the bottom. Same scenario. Got to feel good if you're Cincinnati with Larry Brown and Pat Corrales leading off. Here's the pitch to Larry Brown. 45, grounds a second. Pat Corrales, 57 is a K, as expected. And then back up top to Campaneris. It's his error that may swing the series. 68 is a walk. Now, interesting. you got Johnny Bench and a -4 arm. My goodness. Almost never steal a base off a bench. But it's the World Series. The rules are different. Just to post the odds here, it's a 9. 45% chance. Joe Rudi will be leading off in the next inning. He's going to take off Campaneris in a daring move, and he steals on an 8 off Johnny Bench. You can't believe it. Bench is like, what did you just do? This is only the second stolen base Johnny's allowed all year. He had one by Vic Davalillo in a game against the Florida Marlins, and then this one by Campaneris. Runner at second, 2 outs. Joe Rudi with lefties on deck. Gullett's going to continue. Here's the pitch to Joe Rudi. 59, short X. This is Concepcion, similar to Campaneris. He's a 2E21. You got to plug in the correct E rating here. It's a single dot. A hit off of Concepcion. Both shortstops balking in the 7th inning. We have runners on the corners. We must take a look now at the Mike Hegan card. So Hegan had a fantastic short-term performance, 329 average, but folks, he played in the World Series. So it's not like that short sample is like a violation of league rules of overusing a player. He played in the 72 series. Hits lefties, not as good as righties, but he's very good against them. Gullett is a lefty, plus he's responsible for the win or loss, and it's his final batter as I'll reach the breaking point with Reggie on deck. So it's Mike Hegan, Don Gullett, runners in the corners, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. 67 off of Gullett. It's a single to right field. We'll score the run. Rudi. You don't get thrown out of third base, I believe. 13, 14, 15. Not against the minus number Foster. No, he stays at second. And the A's have tied the game right back. So it all made sense in the top half of the inning as far as playing back for the double play. They would get... Each team gets a run off of a very good defensive shortstop. And we're still batting here. And Gullett is gone. 6 2/3. Point of weakness, we yank him if we can. He is dejected going into the red dugout. They need this road win, and it's a tie game. The amazing A's have first and second and 2 outs. Reggie Jackson in there. Now, you're going to say, well, let's go with the lefty. Yeah, I get that. It's a shame to bring in the lefty, who's not very good against righties, to face Reggie here with 2 more innings to go, and only Claudell Washington coming up after Bando and Tennis. I do want this out, though. This out is extremely important, so we're going to do it. We're going to go to the lefty to get rid of the broken lefty. And actually, the move will make sense when you see the card of Denny Riddleberger coming on in the 7th inning. A free agent signing by the Reds. He actually played for Cleveland in 72. 1-3, 250 ERA in 54 innings. But he's actually much better than Gullett and doesn't have any hits on his card, more importantly, to get that runner to score from second base. So you're willing to tolerate a potential walk to Reggie here and another pitching change. So this is your leverage moment here. Denny Riddleberger pitching to Reggie with 2 on and 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th of a 3-3 game. Here's the pitch to Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. 69 off Riddleberger is a strikeout. Classic baseball, folks. That's all I can say. We go to the 8th of a 3-3 tie. We had at least 2 extra inning games in the World Series before. As we go to the 8th, Kenny Holtzman, he's still out there. Into the 8th. No substitutions need to be made yet. Pete Rose is up. 2-9 for Pete, pops to first. Tony Perez, 1-6, flies to center. And Johnny Bench's homer. 1 of 2 today for this team. 34 just misses another one and grounds to short. 35 is a solo homer. All right, Riddleberger, bottom of the 8th. Claudel comes up in 2 batters. But before that, you could get rocked by Bando and Tennis. And here's some things to note. Hegan, Reggie Jackson, Claudel Washington, they ain't coming out of the game just because you have a lefty out there. So we're going to pull Riddleberger. We don't like our chances against the thunderous Bando and Tennis. We're going to go Pedro Bourbon in the 8th in a tie game. Dave Bourbon is the righty setup with Clay Carroll closing, Jack Aker long relief, mostly for mop-up duty. Pedro Bourbon will come on in the 8th and face Sal Bando. 1-4, flies to center. Gene Tennis, 2-7, single 1 to 10, gets it. Claudel Washington, 1 on, 1 out. The pitch to Claudel, 5-10 off. Bourbon is a double to right field. Tennis, the arm of Foster, no. He's going to stay put there, 2nd and 3rd. Oh boy, Cincinnati. Let another one slip away. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. But you got Larry Brown and Pat Corrales. It's almost like you wish you had another lefty to bring in just so that these guys stay in the game. But they're not going to stay in the game. Cincinnati has no left-handed pitchers. They have Fred Norman, but he's a scheduled starter later in the series. I think he pitches game 4. So he's not available. So Bourbon against Brown. Brown will leave. So your choices in this manner would be Dick Green, Torres, or Ontiveros. The best hitter is Ontiveros. It'll be him. Steve Ontiveros will be the pinch hitter. We'll take a look at Steve Ontiveros, a free agent from the San Francisco Giants in 1974, goes across the bay to Oakland. Hits .265 and 400 plate appearances, drew a lot of walks. Played for the Cubs later in the decade. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. They have to bring the infield up in this moment, late in the game. Here's your pitch to Steve Ontiveros. 3-10, 2nd A. The run will not score with the infield up. And with 2 outs, it's Pat Corrales. He will leave. And you could go either Dick Green or Rusty Torres in this situation. We need a second baseman. I'm going to go Dick Green. I'm going to defy the convention rules. I'm going to go with a right-handed batter instead of the lefty. Let's take a look at Dick Green. Really hits righties well, I might want to add. 73 card, a .262 average. One of the 3 rings he gets during the dynasty. Important part of that, his fantastic defense. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Dick Green. 47 up Bourbon is 2nd X. You got Joe Morgan there, a 1-13 second baseman. And Morgan kicks the ball. Are you kidding me? An E13 Joe Morgan just booted the ball. And the A's take a lead. Oh my, Cincinnati. Oh my. Raleigh Fingers is up in the Oakland pen instantly. You have to be kidding me. Concepcion and Morgan coughing up ground balls late in the World Series. Tennis scores. Claudel goes to 3rd. Green is at 1st. And it's back up top to Bert Campaneris. 3-6. It's going to be a homer 1-2, fly ball the rest. And he rolls the 4. Deep scare in Cincinnati. That would have pretty much knocked them out. But it's a fly ball. Inning is over. It stays 4-3. We took out a second baseman and a DH. Well, insert a second baseman and DH, Ontiveros and Dick Green. As a matter of fact, we'll replace our center fielder, Claudel Washington, with Rusty Torres, turning a 4 into a 2. 4-3 game in the 9th. Holtzman, in this particular situation, he does give up home runs on the roll of 5-4 automatically. Just can't let that happen here when you have Raleigh Fingers on your team. Raleigh Fingers is going to come on in the 9th. He's had a magnificent year. One of the top closers in the game, along with Rich Gossage this year, was fantastic. Tom House with the Atlanta Braves was fantastic. Clay Carroll's had a good year. But Fingers at the top of his form in 1973. 7-8, 192 ERA in 127 innings. Oakland's exhausted their entire bench. They got their closer in there. For the Reds, you got Foster, Concepcion, Tolan, and maybe pinch hitters at the bottom. You figure Geronimo and Mincher might be pinch hitters. But leading off in the 9th, it's George Foster. 3-5 for Foster. Triple 1-6 double. It's a 2-base hit for Foster, and the Reds have it going on in the 9th. Now, Concepcion. I'm never one to bunt to tie. on the road, and not even if it would be an A bunter, and Concepcion's a B bunter. So we are going to be swinging away against Raleigh Fingers, who's pretty symmetrical versus lefties and righties. Doesn't have a decided advantage. We really need a ground ball to the right side of the infield if Concepcion can do it. Don't know if he can. Here's the pitch. 1-8, he strikes out. Now you got Bobby tolling other bells. 1-7 strikes out, and with 2 outs, it's Rod Gilbreth. We saw the card earlier. He's okay against righties. In this particular moment, though, I think I just have to give the Reds the best chance I can for a hit that'll score the runner from second. And that should be Geronimo. Yeah, we're gonna have it be Geronimo. Take a look at Cesar Geronimo's card. The rest of the bench is walks. Mincher walks, Menke walks. Walk's not going to help too much here, because then you need another pinch hitter for Barton. We're going to go right to the guy we need, Cesar Geronimo. We have confidence that the A's aren't going to take Fingers out and bring in a lefty. That would be kind of silly. Plus Menke, we have a righty on the bench anyway. So it'll be Geronimo. In 74, he had 281, 500 plate appearances. Does a really good job. It's close to 300 versus right-handed pitching, folks. So here it is. Here's game 2. Chance for Oakland to get a 2-0 lead at home. Here's the pitch. Cesar Geronimo. 69 off of Fingers. A fly to center field. And that is the end of game 2. Hugely disappointing result for the Cincinnati Reds. Another close loss. The final score is 4-3. Kenny Holtzman gets the win. Raleigh Fingers gets the save. The loss will go to Bourbon. A single off the tennis card, a double off the Bourbon card, but the unearned run off of Joe Morgan. That's it for game 2. Oakland up 2-0, trying to win a World Series for the first time. Game 3, 4, 5 in Cincinnati. We'll see you tomorrow.